Hello, I'm Nobby Clark. Welcome to the workshop. This is the second part of actually machining the base for the PM Research engine. You saw in the last little video that I machined the bottom of the base and then mounting it onto my fixture plate in the mill vise. I machined the tops of these sort of guide rails here. The next part I'm machining is this face here. That is where the cylinder, which is here, the cylinder will actually fit. Obviously this way, but that will fit onto here. So that needs a perfectly flat surface. Now there's a critical measurement between this face and the centre here where I will drill through for the shaft for the flywheel and cam here, and that measurement is 3¼ inches. So I've eyeballed the centre here and measured across, and I've put a little witness mark on the top here. You see I've put a little bit of blue on there, so I've got to machine it back to that to give me the correct distance across here. I'm going to admit to a problem and a mistake I had here. I started filming this already, and that sequence of film I've cancelled, deleted rather, and here I'm starting all over again, because before I started filming, I just made a cut across here just to make sure everything was okay, and then I started was just going to do a couple of cuts across here on camera just to show you, but I think in my enthusiasm I put too big a cut on this, and the end mill caught on the material and spun the casting off the fixture plate. Now I've cancelled that bit of film because I have to admit my embarrassment that I actually swore, which is, in my mind, is not acceptable. It's okay if I'm here in the workshop all on my own, but to do that I'm ashamed and embarrassed that I did that. So that bit of filming is now deleted and we're starting all over again, and I'm now going to make much smaller cuts until I bring this down to the correct measurement. So what I will be able to do is I'll be able to measure across here using my digital caliper to get to the centre position here, and I'm going to try and get it as accurate as I possibly can. Obviously these little parts on the top here where the oil holes will be drilled, I can use that as a sort of a reference point. I've put a bit of blue on here, so I might try and calculate the centre and then just mark that off to give me a starting position. So I will make one or two cuts on camera, but what you'll also see from the previous sequence, I have reconfigured the clamps and I've clamped them down very tight, and I've also put a stud and clamp through the centre here as well. So this is held down in 5 positions now. I've tightened this one down as much as I dare, but not to obviously to damage the casting in any way, and also clamp these down as tightly as I can. But I think it was my fault that I probably put too big a cut on for this sort of facing operation here. That's probably what caused the problem. Later on, when this all comes off, it has also damaged. You won't be able to see it, but below here there's a little bit of damage on here where the cutter caught that as it sort of spun off. I'll address that later. Maybe it won't look too bad. I could always, I guess, put a tiny, well, obviously this is all going to be painted anyway. I could put a tiny little bit of filler in here, I guess, later on, but I could do that right at the very end of the job. Basically, it doesn't have to be done straight away, because this won't get painted until everything's finished, basically. So there we are, all my fault entirely. Just a bit over enthusiastic really on machining this face down. It's actually it has actually cleaned up to the top here now, but of course this has got to come in quite a bit actually. So the top that's going to be quite thin, but having said that, that is the measurement that the plans give you, so there's no getting round that. So anyway, let's proceed, and I'll just face off a little bit more on camera. I hope nothing goes wrong this time. Okay, well I'll carry on with that, and perhaps bring you back up a little bit later on when I've finished machining this down to the right depth. Well, I've been whittling away at this, machining this face down here, and I've got the digital caliper set to 3 inches and 3 1/4 inches, 3.250, so I can hold this on the face here, and I'm sort of on the, I can do this around the camera is rather difficult. That's it. So holding that on, I'm sort of quite happy that I've got that in the centre here, and as long as the measurement is accurate to here, then that's going to set the dead centre for the shaft. So that's going to be fine. You know, if that was out by a few thousandths, it wouldn't really matter too much, because the measurement to the centre of where it's drilled through is going to be correct. So I'm sort of quite happy with that now, and I'm rather glad that this operation's over and done with now. So I've just really got to look at what will be the next procedure. I think possibly machining this part out in here. There is a measurement here for the top of this, which I think from memory is 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to check if I've got a 3/8 of an inch cutter that I could run through here. It's only basically to take off this sort of very ragged edge, but the bottom part of this is actually tapered down, so the bottom part of this, I think all of this is basically for clearance. So I'll get this as accurate as I can on the bottom part. I can probably just file that out to give the clearance part. I could obviously do that sort of later on. So let's move on to the next little job. I just wanted to make a quick recap on where I am at the moment with the machining the base for the engine. The last thing you saw me do was machine this face here, and this is where the cylinder sits, projects out from here. Off camera I did a couple of small operations. I just dusted across these top surfaces here. These will have little holes drilled in them, and these will be to enable you to oil the shaft, which will run through here. Also off camera I just machined inside these faces here just to clean them up, and later on I will file out, when I take this off the fixture plate, I'll file out the rough bits inside here. This is really sort of a clearance area for the connecting rod to move into, and also that will also connect up to the crosshead. Now the other evening I looked through the plans again, because I must admit I misunderstood how the crosshead actually works. When I thought that the crosshead possibly ran on these surfaces, that's why I machined these so that they were in perfect alignment to the bottom of the base. But I was completely wrong. The crosshead caps obviously sit over the top here. These will have clearance holes drilled in here and here, and threaded holes underneath here, and there will be little spaces in between so that the crosshead runs between them. But this to me seemed rather illogical, and I was right when I studied the plans more carefully. What is actually machined into here, sort of about halfway across here, so that's my next door neighbour's dog barking, if you can hear that, and here, and down into this part as well, and this gives you a seat down in here that the crosshead runs in. So what's left of these parts here stops the any sideways movement of the crosshead, and that then gives you the seat that the crosshead will run in. So what you would also need to do when this surface is machined in here, it's also machined across here and here as well to hold the crosshead cap. That's the piece of material they give you. The crossheads are made out of bronze, and the crosshead caps, and the crosshead itself is a piece of brass. I think this is already at the right thickness, but it certainly is at the correct width. It calls for this part to be machined in here 3/4 of an inch wide, 700.750. The crosshead is, I've measured this up across here, it's 0.748, so there's a 2 thou on each side clearance on each side, and then there'll be bits machined out of here to link up to the connecting rod on sort of this end, and on this end will connect up to the piston rod, which will come through here. So now I've got a slightly better understanding of how that's done. The slot here has to be machined very, very accurately to be absolutely centered on here, so that it lines up perfectly with the piston rod. Also really with the connecting rod, but obviously the connecting rod does have a tiny amount of sideways adjustment anyway, but it's critical really that the piston rod lines up perfectly. because the piston rod goes through a gland here, and a gland packing, so there really isn't any sideways movement available at all there, so that's got to be done very accurately. So the way I think I'll approach this, the next well, not quite the next job, but the following job will be drilling a hole through here where the cylinder cap goes through, and then that's held on with, I think on this side it's 3 screws hold it in place. And what I'm going to do is, when I've drilled that hole through, is find a piece of rod which will go through the hole, so that will come through here in alignment, and then I can use the sides of it to give me the dead center. And then once that's set up, it gives me the correct position to machine it. It calls for sort of machining with a 3/4 inch end mill. Luckily I have one. A little while back I got a lot of sort of new old stock, if you like, end mills, and among them was a 3/4 inch one as well, so I've actually got one to machine this. There's obviously got to be also a very accurate depth to the machining as well. The measurement from the base here up to this position is 1 inch 0.41 thousandths, and the depth, this is machined, there's a measurement just below that, which will then be the height that this is machined to. So it's machined through here and across here and here and these sides as well, so that the little spacers for the screws that hold the crosshead caps are in position, so they will sort of hang sort of over here, and that will obviously guide the crosshead backwards and forwards through there. So all of that obviously has got to be done very accurately. I've got to figure out a way of doing all this, either using the DRO. There's another idea I've got for sort of setting the height of this, which I may use, but what I think I'll do is the next process will be drilling the hole here and the hole through here for the shaft to go through here. But what I want to do first, before I drill this hole, is to face off the back here so that is perfectly flat. 2 reasons. Once I've machined that flat, it gives me a nice flat surface like I have here, so that when I've done that I can take the base off the fixture plate and put this on my surface plate and mark out the accurate positions across here for the height of the holes. So if I try and scribe that onto this rough surface, I don't think it's going to work terribly well. I'd like a nice smooth surface to be able to do that with. So I think my next procedure will be taking this off the fixture plate and then, oh no, sorry, leaving it on the fixture plate rather, sorry, leaving it on the fixture plate and then tilt this upright properly out to the side here. Swing the camera around onto the side of the mill table here and mount the fixture plate onto an angle plate so that I can then drill down. One thing I was rather glad, I think I mentioned earlier on that I'd bought some different screws to use than the ones in the kit. Also I bought myself a set of high-speed steel 5BA taps, and I also bought another 1/4-inch reamer. I've sort of realised that that was a good idea to do that, because I mentioned I already have a 1/4-inch reamer, but that one is actually on a Morse taper 1, and I'm going to find some difficulties in actually using that on the milling machine. But the other reamer I bought is actually a chucking reamer, so that's obviously going to be much easier to use on the mill, because you still have a limited amount of height adjustment up to the chuck, or collet chuck, whatever, so you've not got a lot of depth available between the bed of the mill and the position here to get drills and reamers in. So I think that's was well planned, although I didn't realise it at the time. But anyway, I'll break away now and get this set up on an angle plate, and then I can machine this surface here flat. Later on I was going to machine this side as well, so I've got two nice machined surfaces on each side. But I'll obviously bring you back for that. Well, I've set the workpiece up to machine this part here flat. This is the surface that the flywheel will bear against. I'll also have to try and configure it to machine underneath here as well. The only way really to set this up was to use a nice angle block. This was one I bought a few years back, well, quite a number of years back actually. It's even got the original owner's name on it, Walker. It's a nice, thick, heavy one, and I've already confirmed that that it's square on the inside face as well as it would be on the outside face. So what I've done is I've put two studs in here, one here and one under here, which go, the one behind, underneath this rather, that go right through the plate, and I've bolted that onto the back. When I set this up, I did check it with a nice large square to make sure that it's nice and square to the table of the milling machine. And I also, putting a 1, 2, 3 block on here, and then sliding that across to the fixture plate, made sure that I'm in perfect contact down here as well. So this is perfectly square to the mill table as well. I think I should hopefully be able to machine this, only that little area, so it'd be like a little round cut on here. I should be able to do that with the 1/2 inch end mill on there. I think that will cover it quite nicely. I think that will do the job. I was wondering possibly whether a 2 flute might be better. Yeah, I think a 2 flute probably would be better to do it. I could machine that and then run the table across in the X direction to make sure I clean up right the way across. So I think I will do that, because this is a very nice brand new cutter. So I'm going to set that up and have a go at machining that little face there. Well, I've put a 2 flute end mill in, which I hope will give me a flat surface straight away, and I've tried to line up the edge of the flutes around this half circle here, so I'm hoping that's going to do the job for me enough to bring the cutter down very, very gently onto the to the base I've got everything bolted up as tightly as I can, so I hope that this is going to work fine. Wind that up out the way. Well, that looks okay. Yeah, so that should give me a nice, and it's of course with the 2 float, it's nice and flat. You've got no little pip in the middle, which the 4 float one would have given me. So that's surface there should be fine for the flywheel end, and it means now that as I've got a nicely machined surface here and at the other end, which you can't see, and at the other end here, so that I can mark this out for the centre position to drill the hole. So I think with what I've got now, I can remove the base from the fixture plate, and then mark this out and the end for the correct height to drill the hole in. What I've got to also do at some point is try and configure this the other way around so that I can machine that surface as well. It might just about work if I've got enough room on the length of the cutter here to sort of come in from this side to machine that surface, which I hope it will have. We're sort of rather nerve-wracking doing this, but it does appear to have worked out quite nicely. Although cast iron's such a messy material to work with, it does actually machine beautifully, providing you get no inclusions in the casting. I mean, so far everything has machined beautifully. No problems with the casting at all so far, which I hope it stays that way. Anyway, so that's that little procedure carried out. So I'll carry on and bring you back for some other bits and pieces. In the last sequence I machined this part nice and flat, so it's now square to the base. I did also manage to machine the other side as well, by adjusting the two flute end mill out far enough still to be safe. I was able to reach down into this this side of the base as well. I've put some blue marker on here and on the end here as well, because they both need the same register position, which measured from the base here up to the centre here is 1.42. It's 1 inch 420 thousandths. I did use my digital caliper set to that distance onto the base, and as you've got a tiny you can see the sort of centre of where it's machined. It did line up with that just about perfectly, so I think the position I've got it is absolutely right. While I've got the part off the fixture plate, I've filed out inside here as well, just to even all that out, so that it looks quite nice inside there. Now, it wasn't worth showing that part on camera as well, and I didn't bother to film machining that part because, apart from a slightly different setup, just revolving the fixture plate round, it was the same as doing the one on this side. So what I've got to do now is just mark out those centre positions. I've got my digital height gauge here, so I'll move that across. I don't think you on camera you'll actually be able to see the setting. I'll move the, I'm not going to see whether, well, you might be able to see it's set to 1.420, so you can just about see that, I guess. So what I've got to do now is scribe here and the other end as well, so we'll put a little scribe line across there. That looks okay, and in the middle here there we are. So they're marked up nicely. You can probably just about see that, and on here as well. So what I've also got to do is now probably using I might be able to do it with the height gauge, possibly by balancing that onto here and then setting the height gauge to this measurement, which is 3¼ inches, 3.250. So that will give me a very, very accurate measurement here to the centre. Finding the centre here, now I guess I'm going to have to trust the quality of the casting really to calculate the middle position here. I can probably do that with my digital caliper as well. I'll give that a go and see how it looks. While it's off the fixture plate, I'll show you the damage that I did to it before, where this sort of spun off the fixture plate. You see it's made some, I don't know if you can see that, if I bring that, yeah, you can probably just about see it's made some quite nasty gouge marks here, on here, and there was another mark somewhere else. Oh, on the side it's a little bit of a scratch, but I don't think that will show actually. Once that's painted over, I don't think you'll see that, but you would see that. So I might use some filler on that, just to sort of very, very gently fill those marks in. It doesn't have to be done very smoothly, because the surface here, as you can see, isn't very smooth anyway. So that's it basically. So I'm all ready now, or will be all ready to drill the and ream the 1/4 inch hole through here, obviously through both parts, and drill the hole through here, which I can't remember what the size of that is. It's on the drawing somewhere. I'll have to find that, won't I? I can't remember what that size is, but I'll find it. So drilling that through, and once I've got the hole through there, and if I put if I've got a piece of material that will go through here, ideally a bit of silver steel, if I've got anything at the right size, that will give me a data position for the centre here, so that I can machine out this 3/4 inch seat in here for the crosshead to run in. So I think that's I'll call it finished on this particular part up to now, and I'll do the drilling perhaps in the next episode along, rather than make these little videos too long. One thing though is I don't know if it's surprising or not, but when I've made models before, the boss on the flywheel can actually come in contact with whatever's here on the model. But you see the boss here is quite a distance below the edge of the flywheel, so I think whether it needs some sort of I don't know if there is a spacer that goes in between. I'll have to look through all the plans and see if there's anything that goes between these two, because it's if you bring this up against the base, you see there's quite a gap between the side here and the boss in the centre of the flywheel. So that's going to sit about there, but not a problem. We'll obviously get round that, so there's no problem, nothing to worry about. But anyway, that's it. Well, thanks for joining me again in the workshop, and I'll have another part of this build a bit later on, but obviously in between times there may be other things I'm doing in the workshop as well, which I'll show, so it won't be a matter of showing one video one after the other on this build. I don't really want to do it that way. So anyway, again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.